Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be walking you through on how to draft this lovely Queen Anne neckline and also how to draft the back body. This neckline is with a combination of a sweetheart neck. So let's dive into the video. If this is the first time you are seeing any of my video or the first time you are visiting my channel, you are highly welcome to the family. Please kindly hit on the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified when I upload new videos. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. So to draft our Queen Anne neckline, we'll be needing our tape rule, our marker, our ruler, our French curve, our scissors, and then the pattern paper. So the first thing you would want to do is fold your paper into two. And then you mark out ½ inches at the tip of the paper. This line will serve as the shoulder line and our starting points. So I'll mark the ½ inches there like this, and then I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line on that. After doing that, I'll be taking my bust point. For my bust point, I'll be using 9 inches. I'll place my tape rule from my shoulder line to mark out the 9 inches. And then I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line on the point I made. Also from my shoulder line, I'll mark out my under bust point, which is 13 inches. I will also use my ruler to draw a straight line on the point I made. Also from my shoulder line, I'll mark out my short length, which is 16 inches. I'll also use my ruler to draw a straight line on the points. After marking out others, we'll begin to label it so you won't get confused. So this is our bust points, our under bust points, and then the waist. After that, you come over to your shoulder line to take your shoulder measurements. For the shoulder measurements, I'll be using 14 inches. 14 divided by 2, that'll give me 7 inches. So I'll mark the 7 inches there like this. So to get the armhole line, you can come over to your bust point to go up by 2 inches, or you divide your bust measurements by 6 and then add 1.5 inches. So I'll be going up from my bust point by 2 inches, and then I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line on the points. The point where I marked my shoulder measurements, I'll connect it to the armhole line. I'll make a straight line with that. The next thing to do is to mark the neckline. So because it's a Queen Anne neckline, we'll be needing only the wideness of the neck. So I'll be using 3.5 inches for that. I won't be needing the depth of the neck. From this point I place my tape. I'll come down by 1 inches for my shoulder slope. I'll mark it there like this and then connect the 1 inches to the neckline wideness. I'll be taking my round bust measurements, which is 35 inches. So I'll be dividing 35 inches by 4. You can easily fold your tape rule into 4 as I am doing to get the measurements. So whatever I have there, I'll be placing that on my armhole line to mark out. So I'll mark it out on my armhole line like this. And then I'll come over to this line to get the midpoints. I'll place my tape rule there like this and then fold my tape rule into 2. So whatever I have there will be the midpoints. So I'll be marking that there like this. So from that point, I'll connect it to my round bust and then to my shoulder slope. So I'll be using my French curve to connect that together. This is how it came out after doing that. So the next thing we want to do is to take the nipple to nipple measurements. The nipple to nipple measurements, I'll be using 7 inches for that. So 7 inches divided by 2, that'll give me 3.5 inches. I'll mark that 3.5 inches on my bust points. I'll mark it on my under bust point too. And then I'll mark it on my waist line too. I'll mark the 3.5 inches. So I'll be using my ruler to connect the 3 points together to make a straight line. So I'll come over to my shoulder slope and then I'll place my tape rule there to divide whatever I have there into 2 to get the midpoints. So I'll place my tape rule there like this and then I'll fold it into 2 as I am doing. I'll fold it into 2 and then whatever I have there, I'll mark it as a midpoint. So from that point, I'll connect it to the bust point. From that midpoint, I'll connect it there like this to my bust points. What we'll be doing next is to take the dart measurements. So I'll come over to my under bust points and then mark out 1 inches, which is the part going towards the front. I'll mark out 1 inches there like this, and then I'll come on my waistline too. I'll mark 1 inches. So I'll connect the 2 points together with my ruler to make a straight line. After doing that, on the side towards this, on the part towards the side rather, I'll measure 1.5 inches. I'll measure 1.5 inches on that side. I'll mark it there like this, and then on my waistline I'll mark out 1.5 inches. I'll connect the 2 points together to make a straight line. After that, I'll come over to my bust points. On my nipple to nipple line, I'll measure 1 inches downward like this. I'll mark the 1 inches there like this. From the point I made on the under bust, I'll connect it to the 1 inches I marked to make a curve. So I'll connect the both points together like this, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll use my French curve to connect the points together like this to make a curve. So after that, I'll come to my shoulder line to take my chest line measurements. For my chest line measurements, I'll be using 6 inches. So I'll mark out the 6 inches like this, and then I'll use my straight ruler to draw a straight line on the points. So after that, the next thing to do is to take the over bust tightening. So I'll be taking 1 inches at this side. I'll mark it out like this, and then on this other side I'll be marking out 1 inches too. So I'll use my French curve to connect these points to the bust points, and then the other points to the bust points too. So the next thing we want to do is to get our Queen Anne neckline. It's very easy to get. So from this point here, you connect it to the wideness of the neck. Use your ruler to draw a straight line to connect the both points together like this. As you can see me doing, you connect it this way. Can you see we've gotten the neckline already? It's very easy. So to avoid any kind of gaping at the yoke neckline, I will eliminate 0.5 inches at this point. I'll mark it there like this. I'll mark it out, and then I'll use my ruler to slant it out to connect it to these points. I'll connect it there like this. So by the time you want to attach the yoke to the dress, it won't be gaping or folding, so it will sit perfectly. So that part that I shade out is the area we'll be cutting out by the time we want to cut. So after that, we'll be taking all the body measurements. For our bust measurements, we'll divide it by 4, which is 35 divided by 4. So whatever I have there, I'll mark it out on my bust points. So the same measurements you marked on the bust points, we'll be marking that on the armhole line too, which we've done already. So on these points, you know, we mark out our darts and we use 2 inches there. You measure it like this. So that 2 inches, you will add it to the measurements. You add it to the measurement like this. You add it on the bust points too. And then you come over to your waistline. You divide your waistline by 4, which is 28 divided by 4. That will give me 7 inches. So by the time you divide it by 4, it will give me 7 inches. So I'll mark out that 7 inches on my waistline. I'll mark it there like this. And then for the dart measurement I took at that point, I'll measure it to know what I marked. So I got 2.5 inches. I'll mark that 2.5 inches there too like this, and then I'll connect that point to my bust point to my armhole line. I'll use my ruler to connect the points together, and then I'll add extra 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. I'll add it on my armhole line, on my bust points, on my waist, and then I'll connect the points together. So this part that I am shading out is the part where we'll be cutting out. So what we'll be doing next is to get our sweetheart neck. So from these points here, I'll connect it to these points. I'll use my French cuff to connect it there to get the sweetheart's neck. So you can actually come down more depending on how revealing you want your sweetheart's neck to be, but this place is perfectly okay for me. So, and then we are done with the drafting of the front part. So the next thing we'll be doing is to just cut it out, and then we'll move to the drafting of the back. So as you can see, this is how it came out after I was done cutting it out. Let me arrange it for you to see how it is. This is the middle part, the side parts, the yoke, the other yoke. Can you see? It came out really nice. So can you see how it is? So we'll move to the drafting of the back. So guys, this is it for the back. As you can see, I've gone ahead to mark out my zipper area. So I'll just label it for you to see. So this is the zipper allowance, and then I've marked out the 13 points too. So I used 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. You can use 2 inches or 1 inches, though I use 1.5 inches for mine. So we'll be taking our shoulder to nipple measurements, which is 9 inches. I'll mark it there like this, and then we won't be needing our under bust measurements. So also for my shoulder line, we'll be marking out the shoulder to waistline, and then I'll draw a straight line on the points. From my bust points, I'll go up by 2 inches for the armhole line. I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line on that. So we'll begin to label it so as not to get confused. So this is the armhole line, the bust points, and then the waistline. I'll be taking my shoulder measurements, which is 7 inches. I'll mark the 7 inches there like this, and then I'll be taking the neck wideness. I'll be using 3.5 inches. It's the same thing I used at the front part. I'll be using for the back too. I'll be using 3.5 inches. I'll mark it there, and then from the 7 inches, I'll connect it to the armhole line to make a straight line. So from these points, I'll go down by 1 inches for my shoulder slope. I'll mark the 1 inches there like this, and then from that 1 inches, I'll use my ruler to connect it to the wideness of the neck. So I'll divide my bust measurement by 4. Whatever I have there, I'll place the taper on my armhole line like this to mark out. From that point, I'll use my French cuff to make a curve to this line. So for the back armhole, we won't be coming in by ½ inches like we did for the front parts. You know, the front armhole is always different from the back, so the back is just going to be normal. After doing that, we'll be marking our bust round on the bust points. We'll mark it there, and then we'll come over to the waistline. We'll mark our waist measurements, which is 28 divided by 4 to give me 7 inches. I'll mark the 7 inches there like this, and then I'll be adding extra 1 inches for that. I'll mark it there. So I'll connect my waistline to my bust points to my armhole line too. I'll use my ruler to connect the points together, and then I'll be adding extra 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. I'll mark it on my armhole line, on my bust points, on my waistline soon. So I'll connect the points together. I want to say a very big thank you to every one of you that has followed me from the beginning of this tutorial till this moment. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. And if you know you're yet to subscribe to my channel and you're watching this video, please do well to subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bell. Thank you very much. God bless you all. So we'll be marking out the dart points. To determine the dart points, we'll be using the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 7 inches divided by 2. That'll give me 3.5 inches. I'll mark the 3.5 inches on my waistline, and then I'll mark the same thing on my bust points too. So I'll be connecting the 2 points together to make a straight line. So I'll be using 6 inches for my dart length. I'll place my taper on my waistline like this, and then I'll go up by 6 inches. I'll mark out 6 inches there like this. So on both sides of the dart line, I'll mark ½ inches each on both sides. I'll mark ½ inches here, and then on the other side I'll mark out ½ inches. So from this side, I'll connect it to the 6 inches I marked, and then from this other side too, I'll connect it to the 6 inches. After doing that, I'll go over to the shoulder line to take the neck depth. So for the neck depth, I'll be using 2 inches. I'll place my tape rule on the shoulder line like this and then mark out 2 inches. So from that 2 inches, I'll connect it to the wideness of the neck. I'll use my French curve to connect both points together. So this is it for the drafting of the back. So we'll be cutting out the part we don't need. This is it after I was done cutting, as you can see. So on this zipper part, I'm going to eliminate ½ inches to avoid the gaping of the zip. I'll use my ruler to connect the ½ inches towards the bust points, and then we'll be cutting out that part. So that's it for the drafting of the back. As you can see, it came out very nice. So if you have any question concerning this tutorial, you can ask me in the comment section. Kindly help me like this video, help me subscribe, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified when I drop more contents like this one. Thank you for your support, thank you for your love. I'm going to see you in my next one. Bye.